And so, so no partial, no. So it's just it's just a function of what's circled, and so, so showing your work doesn't get you any extra points. Okay. What?
Are the answers to the practice tests online?
Yes, they are. Okay, including now, and new and improved for you all. Not only are the answers on the bottom page of the practice exam, but there should be a separate file up there now that shows you how to do the calculations for the calculation ones. And that's fairly new and improved. That's in the last calendar year that is. In fact, it might have just been last semester that we finally got that up. So it takes a little while. It takes more time than you would ever imagine getting all these resources available to you all. And so it's been if you like it, it's been better part of 10 years of work, which you have in front of you and all the resources you now have online. And and we're still adding to the collection of resources that you have access to with the videotapes and what have you. Whee! I'm glad at least one person gave a kind of a courtesy laugh. That was the word I was fishing for. Gave a courtesy laugh. Any other questions? Because I was going to help you a little bit. If you're ready to take a couple of just conceptual notes about what's going to be on the test. Number one, know the standards of ethical conduct for management accountants. That was the first assignment you did way back when. Be ready to answer a multiple choice question or two about the standards of ethical conduct for management accountants. So that's something that we haven't specifically talked about in class, but you know what they are, you know where they are, you can go review them, study them, be ready for a question or two on the exam. So know the standards of ethical conduct for management accountants. You do need to know all the terms we've discussed in class. Just as a given, I expect you to, in some sense, studying isn't too horribly hard in the sense that, what's on the test is what we've covered in class. There's no other textbook. So in that sense, life is a little easier. I like to assume that I play some minuscule role in this whole teaching and learning process. And so I like to think that I like to try and test what I've taught. I do, as another note, I do philosophically, not that I achieve this, but one of the things I'm thinking about when I construct a test is trying to be proportional. How much time did I spend on what? And then try and cover that proportionally, on the test. And so I think I do a pretty thorough job of covering all that we've talked about this semester so far. And I try to be, at least in my mind when I'm trying to write it, one of the things I'm paying attention to, again, not that I'm always successful, is it kind of proportional to how much time we spent doing stuff in class. So you are responsible for every problem that you have done. You're responsible for every problem that you've done, whether that be as homework or whether we did it together in class. Although, and there is other opportunities for practice in the handy handbook, and where are the solutions found to all of those other problems that you could practice on your own, on Blackboard. And so I try to give you lots of opportunities to practice and learn. And that is how I myself learned accounting as a student, was sitting down with the solution manual and figuring out how it got done. And so I did that a lot as a student. That's one of the reasons why I always make solutions available to students for all the problems now, is because that is how you learn accounting. And kind of as a study tip, you're better off studying 2 hours a day from now until Tuesday than you are studying 8 hours Monday. So tackle it, look at it. You're going to study that much, right? He's thinking, does he really believe we're going to study that much? I sure hope so. And so you're better off studying a little bit, and then that way you can review the material you've already studied another day to see if you've remembered and actually learned it. If you're just trying to stuff it in the night before or the day before a test, you don't know if you learned it until after you get your test results back, and that's sometimes a little too late. Okay? And so you're always better off doing things over time. Okay? Of course, I was a bit of a weird student. you know, I was good, I guess. That made me weird. You know, I had a 3.9 something in both high school and college. In college, though, what really I won the most studious graduate of the business school award the year I graduated, in part because I rewrote every page of notes I ever took in college. Every page. Every word I wrote down on a piece of paper in class, I rewrote out of class for my entire college career. And so that was I found it very, very useful, because then I was usually a day ahead of everybody else studying. When it came time to start studying for a test, I'd already kind of experienced the class, if you will, twice, not just once. And so I was invariably already on, you know, a day ahead of everybody else that was studying. And so I can suggest that. I would suggest that. Although accounting is where I thought it didn't do me as much good as some of my other classes. Because if you ever, I took a class in Europe where I actually spent an entire academic year taking classes in Salzburg, Austria, taught by European professors, and the system's different over there. You sit through a bunch of lectures, take one test, and that test determines your grade in a lot of European classes. I've sat through oral examinations where it's just you and another student and the professor for 15 minutes, and he asks you whatever he wants. That was when the professor, that was actually in the test, that professor told me, definitions are for, you know, are easy questions. Here's a hard one for you, which isn't really particularly encouraging when you're in a test and hearing that. And he hands you a sheet of that includes stuff that you've never ever learned before, and says, here, do the first 3. So it's a different system. But one of the things that they would do, I'd have a professor, political science professor, who literally had stuff highlighted in a textbook, and he just read to us for an hour and 15 minutes. You know, and he'd just read us, and he was highlighting the important stuff. So this is all stuff. I was taking 4 pieces of paper, front and back, in an hour and 15 minutes, just as fast as I could write. And in those types of classes, that's when you really appreciate rewriting your notes. So, are you ready? What are you ready for? To review? Oh. So what's a fixed cost? Denise, what's a fixed cost? Fixed cost is that how I defined it in class? No. You know, I'm just getting the chairs out of the way. Huh?
Make sure they're out of the way for the test, too.
Oh, I won't do that during the test. I won't do that during the test. What's a fixed cost? Fixed? You did get it. Please don't get it backwards on the test, okay? No, she said a cost that varies. Oh, okay. That is not the way I was expecting you to. That was not.
Hey, I'm not normal either.
So it's a cost that remains the same regardless of the number of units produced. It does vary on a per unit basis. What's a variable cost, Sadie?
Costs that vary with the number of units.
Yes, cost that varies with the number of units produced. Laura, what's a product cost?
Costs associated with making a product.
All costs associated with making a product. Samantha, what are period costs?
Recognized from the period incurred.
True statement. You can give me a little bit better